Hello, dear students. Welcome back to your channel, Hello Pharmacology. In today's session, let us learn about the drug development process. So, the drug development process involves three main phases. So, let us see what are those three main phases. So, we have a drug discovery phase. Second, we have a preclinical phase. And third, we have a clinical phase. So, what do you understand by drug discovery phase? In case of drug discovery phase, the candidate molecules will be chosen. So the molecules which are chosen will be based on their pharmacological property. It can be derived from natural sources or it can be derived from the synthetic sources. So this is called as a candidate molecules that will be chosen for further evaluation based on their pharmacological property. In the second stage, it will be taken to preclinical phase. So in case of preclinical stage, the wide range of animal studies will be done. So whatever the candidate molecules you have chosen, it will be subjected to animal studies. In case of animal studies, you are going to evaluate the pharmacokinetic studies, pharmacodynamic studies, as well as the toxicity studies. Once you get an approval from this preclinical study, you are going to shift to the clinical phase. So whatever the candidate molecules, if it passes the preclinical phase, it will be taken into clinical phase. In case of clinical phase, you are going to subject the candidate molecules to the human volunteers as well as the patients. So basically the lead compound will be tested in both human volunteers as well as the patients. So basically we will need to check for efficacy, safety and adverse effects profile in case of the clinical phase. Only after these approval of the clinical phase, drug will be marketed. Unless it passes the clinical phase, drug will not be distributed in the market. So again, to repeat, the drug development process involves three stages. One is the drug discovery phase, preclinical phase, and the clinical phase. So drug discovery phase, you are going to choose the candidate molecules based on their chemical pharmacological property. And in the preclinical phase, it will be subjected to animal studies. In the clinical phase, the study will be done in human volunteers and the patient to evaluate the safety, efficacy, as well as the adverse effects profile. If you find this video useful, please do subscribe to my channel, I Love Pharmacology, and do not forget to share and hit the like button for more updates on pharmacology. Thank you. Hello, dear students. Welcome back to your channel, I Love Pharmacology. In today's session, let us briefly learn about the pharmacovigilance. So let us know the meaning of pharmacovigilance, the definition of pharmacovigilance, and where the international as well as the national monitoring centers are located. So in Greek, pharmakon means drug and vigilare means to be observant. So it is nothing but to be observant or vigilant with respect to the drug reactions. So basically the pharmacovigilance tells about to remain vigilant as well as to observe the adverse effects of any drug. So please remember, the pharmacovigilance will help us in knowing the adverse drug reactions caused by particular drug. So in simpler terms, so pharmacovigilance is nothing but to remain vigilant as well as observant with respect to the adverse effects caused by the drugs through the continuous monitoring process. So basically it will help in safety of the marketed drug. It helps in checking the safety of the marketed drug. So what is the definition of the World Health Organization regarding pharmacovigilance? So the World Health Organization defines pharmacovigilance as a science and art which deals with the detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of adverse effects or drug-related unwanted effects. So please remember the WHO definition of pharmacovigilance has to be written in your exams whenever they ask regarding the definition of pharmacovigilance. So please remember, it is a science and art which deals with the detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of adverse effects or drug-related unwanted effects. So the International Monitoring Center is located in the Uppsala. That is Uppsala Monitoring Center, which is located in the Sweden. Whereas in India, Pharmacovigilance Program of India is located, the National Pharmacovigilance Center is located in the Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh, India. So the simpler way to remember the definition of pharmacovigilance is, you need to remember D A U P. D stands for detection, A stands for assessment, U stands for understanding, P stands for prevention of the adverse effects as well as the drug-related unwanted effects. So this was all about the information regarding the pharmacovigilance. If you find this video useful, please do subscribe to my channel, I Love Pharmacology, for more updates on pharmacology. Thank you. Hello dear students, welcome back to your channel, I Love Pharmacology. And today's session, let us learn about a very important topic in pharmacology, that is orphan drugs, which is quite often asked in your entrance exam as well as in the theory examinations. So we'll learn about the definition of orphan drugs and the examples under orphan drugs. So what is the definition of orphan drugs? So orphan drugs means there are certain drugs which are not developed into usable medicine. Please remember these each sentences. Certain drugs that are not developed into usable medicines. Why? Because the cost incurred, please remember, the cost incurred will not be recovered by developers. That means the cost incurred towards development of the drug will not be recovered by the pharmaceutical companies. That means whatever the amount you are spending on the drug, when it is marketed, will not be able to recover the cost again. So please remember, whenever you have spent a lot of money on the drug to find its efficacy, potency, safety and toxicity effects and all, so the amount of drug which is spent for development of the drug will not be recovered when the same drug is marketed for treating certain diseases. So what are those diseases where you will not be able to recover the cost of the medications that has been used for development of drugs in case of certain diseases? So certain diseases are the rare diseases. So that's why in case of rare diseases, so whatever the amount you will be spending for research in discovering the drug for that condition will not be recovered by the marketing process. So that means to say the lot of amount of funds will be spent on the drug discovery. So when it is marketed, so those drugs will not be able to get back the funds which has been spent by the pharmaceutical companies. So it happens only in case of rare diseases. So that's why the rare diseases remains untreated. So for this reason, the government has come out with the special plans and offers, that is in the form of incentives and tax relief for the pharmaceutical company which are preparing these drugs. So that's why the person which are suffering from rare diseases, they're called as orphan disease. The person who is suffering from rare diseases is called as orphan patient, and the drug which has been used to treat the orphan disease in orphan patient, it is called as orphan drug. So the disease is called as orphan disease, the patient is called as orphan patient, the drug is called as orphan drug. So let us see the definition once again. So orphan drug means they are the certain groups of drugs which are not developed into usable medicines because the cost incurred will not be recovered by the pharmaceutical companies, especially in case of the rare diseases. So that's why the drugs for the rare diseases will not be procured at respective interval of time, and the disease remains untreated. So that's why the government has given some offers and incentives and tax benefit to the companies which are preparing the orphan drugs. So the disease is called as orphan disease. The drug which has been discovered to treat the orphan disease is called as orphan drug, and the patient is called as orphan patients. So next, let us see the examples. So here you can see that fomepizole is an enzyme inhibitor which has been used in the treatment of methyl alcohol poisoning. Next, we have acetylcysteine, which is used in the treatment of paracetamol overdose or paracetamol toxicity. Then we have atovaquone, which is used in the treatment of AIDS-associated pneumocystis carinii pneumonia. Then we have a miltefosine used in the treatment of Kala Azar. Then we have a erythropoietin used in the treatment of anemia due to end-stage renal disease as well as in case of anemia due to cancer patients. So how to remember the examples for orphan drugs? So there is a mnemonic, you can remember it as, that is the FAME. So orphan, FAME, orphan, FAME. So F stands for fomepizole, which is used in the treatment of methyl alcohol poisoning. A stands for the acetylcysteine, which is used in the treatment of paracetamol toxicity. A stands for atovaquone, which is used in the treatment of AIDS-associated pneumocystis carinii pneumonia. And M stands for miltefosine, which is used in the treatment of Kala Azar. And E stands for erythropoietin, which is used in the treatment of anemia, which has been produced due to end-stage renal disease as well as in the anemia due to cancer patients. So this was about the information regarding the orphan drug definition as well as the examples. Please remember the definition as well as the examples. These are very, very important, and this has been asked very, very frequently in your exams. So if you find this video useful, please do subscribe to my channel, I Love Pharmacology, and do not forget to share and hit the like button for more updates on pharmacology. Thank you.